You gonna intro it or what's the deal?
We're back at it again. Day 3 of quarantine podcast, episode 3. Actually, I'm day 4 right now.
You're day 4 of the quarantine, but this is like day this is the third podcast, so
Yes,
we're like off a day. We should have just started that first day and recorded, but it is what it
it's
is.
fine. It's fine. We have to live a full day of quarantine to then we start the podcast.
That's true. I mean, you gotta get into the groove kind of thing. But well, Justin, how's it been? What did you do today?
Woke up at 7:45 again. So yeah, that was that. I was Rubik's cubing it up today.
You're in your Rubik's cube.
I finally learned how to do a Rubik's cube without watching the video, and I could do it in 5 minutes or less.
This gimmick of a Rubik's cube, like I don't know. Go ahead, continue.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm just saying, it's just like all of a sudden you and your Rubik's cube, and I'm like, my God, this guy. Are you just like sitting there all day just doing the Rubik's cube, and then you complete it, and then you start it all over again?
Sometimes I did that for the last hour. I was waffing. Uh-oh, I can't talk anymore. Watching Wolf of Wall Street because we were talking
Okay.
about stocks last night.
I gotta
And
rewatch that. I haven't watched
said,
that in a while.
yeah, it's pretty rated R if you're not expecting what's coming. What else I did today? I went to Costco, did some grocery shopping.
How was that?
I
Was
had
there
to
a lot
wait
of people there?
20 minutes in line to get in. No, the
Seriously.
line system. Yeah, yeah. So you have to wait to get in. So they limit the amount of people that
Oh
can be in
yeah.
there because we're smart here. We want to limit our cases.
Yeah.
They give you wipes to wipe down your carts.
Wow. Did you give it a
They-
bath? Did you do the whole thing?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we don't get masks. People wearing a mask and gloves, but you get like Lysol wipes to like wipe down your carts and stuff
Oh, that's good.
yourself. And then it was nice in there. It was kind of empty. It was like because there's limited amount of people, so you actually could walk around without bumping into anybody.
Hmm.
Got some gimmicks left there. They had
One per
toilet paper. They
person.
had, they had all kinds of stocks of toilet paper, one per customer.
One per person. Yeah,
So they
that's
have
the way to do it. They should have did that from the beginning here.
But still, like you could buy a pack of 30. You're like good for like a month or whatever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, and then I came home and chilled. I Rubik's up. I wrote some jokes today, not as much as yesterday. And I was like, let's do a podcast before I go to make dinner.
What do you have for dinner tonight?
I'm making tacos.
Tacos. What kind of
We got
tacos?
well, we got some ground turkey and ground beef, so we haven't decided which one we want to make.
Gotcha.
Put the
That's
little bean
interesting.
skis up, get some cheese. Oh, it's good to go. Make a little salad on the side.
Are
Eat a
you
little.
a are you a soft shell taco guy or a hard shell taco guy?
I am a hard shell because I eat burritos so often that soft shell is kind of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If
Interesting.
I want a soft shell, I'll eat a burrito. If I want a hard shell, I want to eat a taco.
That's true because I normally turn the soft shell tacos into a burrito
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like what's the point? Before I never knew about burritos. I used to eat soft shell all the time, but like hard shells all the way. You got to get that little crunch going.
Unless it breaks on you like at Taco Bell. I went to Taco Bell the other day and I got the best taco is the Doritos one, like the
Oh man,
whatever it's
if
called.
you don't get Doritos, why are you even going to Taco Bell?
Yeah, like I don't even know why you would get like a regular taco unless you just don't like Doritos or something. But like
And then if you don't like Doritos, don't eat any
don't have a
tacos.
taco. Yeah, it's it's literally a Dorito, like a plain Dorito is the shell of the taco. But yeah, Taco Bell. Oh, when I was at Taco Bell the other day, um, they, I went in line, or I didn't went in line, but like I was in the drive-through, and we pulled up to the window where they paid. I gave them the money. I gave them my card. They gave me my card back, and they were like, "Here you go. Here's 2 gloves for your car." And I was like, "Wow, that's so nice." Like, and then the next day I went to like McDonald's to get a drink, and they weren't wearing gloves. They just kind of like gave us the money. Like it was just like whatever. So I was very surprised that Taco Bell was like,
That's why you got over 100,000 cases, but we won't talk about that.
well, yeah, but is that all you did
And
today? Go
Canada
to
is under
tacos?
5,000, by the way. Oh, I'm just
Really?
talking about random. Yeah, yeah, we're under 5,000.
Wow. I don't
But
know
also,
what we're
we're
here.
10%. We're 10% of your population, so
Yeah.
still, it's still not as much. But yeah, that's all I did today. I can't really think of much else. I didn't go for the dog for a walk. It's kind of rainy outside today.
Yeah, it rained here all day. Like there was a brief stint where it was like nice and sunny, and like the ground was a little dry except for like puddles, and I was like, oh, like maybe go outside, but I was like, like it's rainy, and the Stone Cold Steve Austin beer that Breach brought us, I've had Tommy's in the fridge for the past like I don't know, like month,
Literally.
so I just haven't brought it over to him, and I need to bring it over to him. So, but
Hey, think about this. That was 1 month ago I flew in.
is that 1 month ago? What's today?
Yep.
Today's the 28th. So yeah, it was 1 month ago. That's crazy. Everything went nuts a little bit less than a month ago.
It's wild.
Yeah, it was
What'd
after
you do?
that.
What'd you do?
So other than the rain, so like my desktop computer, I updated it. I like cleaned out some files. I backed up some files like video files and like graphics files and photos and stuff. And then I like deleted a bunch of it after I backed it up. And then I updated my computer for the first time in like maybe 3 years. Um, I was still like on an old like I don't even know how old the software was, but I finally did that. It took like 5 hours to do. And then by the way, I forgot to tell you your Pro Wrestling Tees order came in, like the mystery
Nice.
thing.
Nice.
So there's that.
And that'll be
Um,
sitting there for months.
yeah, it's literally gonna be there for until like July
Oh,
probably.
even though we're talking, they shipped my villain jersey, so it'll probably be in next week.
Okay, I'll keep an eye
Yeah.
out for it because I got a card in today, the mail, um, of Mario Chalmers. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He played for the Heat. Um,
No.
he went to Kansas and he tied the game in the 2008 national championship game with like 2 seconds left. Like he hit a three, he tied the game. It was against Derrick Rose's Memphis team, and I got his autographed card in the mail today because it was like a Kansas one. It was a couple of bucks, so I was like, I need to have this. But then other than that, I pretty much played Animal Crossing all day, and I've been working on a record store in there where basically like I've been taking the album, like my favorite albums, and I've been like putting them into game form and putting them on the wall. And I've got like
So this
boom
is like
boxes, and I've got like a
so.
record player and a big record stereo and
Hold
stuff.
hold on. So this is your second life.
Oh,
Remember
definitely.
the
This is
episode
yeah,
of
yeah,
The
yeah,
Office when Dwight gets a second life, and then he makes
yeah.
a second life?
And then Jim is in the game, and he plays guitar, and he's from Philly Jim.
So this is you. This is your second life, Animal
Yeah,
Crossing.
it's just like a fun game. I explained it to Tommy yesterday. I said it's like Minecraft and Pokemon, um, like together, and it's
It's
like
like
a lot of fun.
it's like you can't go outside, so you got to play a game so you can go outside.
What's weird about it is it's real time. So if I play the game right now, it'll be 5:51 p.m., which is when recording this. So it's
Okay.
like live real time. If it's raining outside, it's raining in game. If it's sunny outside, it's sunny in game. If it's
So
dark
you
outside,
set
it's
your
dark in game.
location.
What?
You set your location.
It makes you set the location,
Okay.
which is crazy, but it's a lot of fun. And if you want to go see the record store, like I did a little quick video. I'm thinking, okay, now you can let me know what you think about this, Justin. I'm thinking about live streaming it on Twitch
Might as well.
and like doing like imagine if we
You'll
just
probably get you'll probably get more viewers than this.
idea. What if we live streamed it? If I live streamed it on Twitch during WrestleMania, and then that will be our like watch thing. So then it's like, hey, WrestleMania was recorded, but here's us playing this. Here's me playing this game while we talk about like the live WrestleMania. I don't know.
But that would
Um,
be your stream, and then I could just upload the podcast because it would just be audio.
that's true. We have
Whatever.
to figure that one out,
It's
but
up to you. I
other
like how
than
we're
that,
talking regular now on the podcast. Like we're just talking regular, but we're just recording it now because why not?
well, yeah, this is like I said, this is like we're gonna look back on this and be like, hey, what were we what were we talking about?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
know. Remember when we cared about this?
Yeah, I mean, like I once in a while I'll think of honestly, I don't know if this is like you or if this is the same for you, but I don't get video ideas anymore. Like I used to come up with like skits and stuff, like YWC related, I guess you can say. And now I don't anymore. Like the last one I had was like the YWC Slammy Award video that I did. and that was like 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But I
Well,
just
I
don't
guess
get
mine
ideas.
is I think of ideas. Like I think of jokes, and I'm like, this should be a skit, not a bit.
Hmm.
It'd be like that sometimes. But wrestling videos, I don't think of at all, dude.
Well, wrestling videos are weird because like everyone's if you have a wrestling topic that you want to talk about, you either do a podcast or you post it on Twitter. So like there's really like people still make them, but like more people they take their video idea and they throw it on Twitter. So it could be a good video, but instead it's going to be a quick little tweet. So it's weird because like I know Breach still does like wrestling videos and topic videos and stuff, and he has fun doing them. But like for me, if I have a thought, I'll just either text it to somebody or I'll post it on Twitter. And I really don't talk about wrestling that much on Twitter as it is because I just don't care enough. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing that other than AEW in WWE, there's nothing that I just care for as
Especially
much
now.
anymore.
And
Like
this
I'll
gaming.
watch NXT takeovers. I'll watch every takeover. I unsubscribed from the network in the past 6 months. Um, I'll watch WrestleMania,
I gotta
but
resubscribe to it.
well, I'll do the gimmick. You know,
Oh,
I got more emails.
get that little free ski.
I've paid for that network since day one before I canceled it in like November. I mean, if you figure that out, it was getting close, it was scary close to $1,000. And I don't think WWE has deserved my money over the past however many years. I think it's been like what 6 years,
Yeah.
and I just kept paying it because I was like, well, I'm gonna watch the pay-per-view every month, so I might as well just like continue the thing. But then I thought about it and I was like, I'm not even watching the pay-per-views. I think it was after the Cell match with Rollins and Bray Wyatt where I was just like, I don't even watch these anymore. Like, why am I even still giving them my money? You know what I mean?
hmm
But
So
it is what
speaking
it
of
is.
wrestling,
Yeah, speaking of
our
wrestling.
top our topic of the day. What was our topic of the day today?
So basically, people are bored on Twitter and
Literally.
they're
Bro,
looking for
yo,
something to do.
hold on. Ravi tagged me into a baby challenge. I'm like, what is this? And I post
Yeah,
it.
that was bananas.
I
Like,
post
whoa.
it and I tag random people and no one even posted with me. So
Like, here's
screw
the
everybody
thing.
that didn't do it and screw Ravi.
There's these challenges on social media.
And how
Um,
is posting a baby picture a challenge, by the way? I got like
it's
tons
not
of
even a challenge. It's just like a thing to do. Like, people are bored and they're okay. Like, I the one that we got tagged in by Ravi, we both got to get tagged in by Ravi, is five wrestlers that mean a lot to you. And the one tweet that like he replied to, that whoever tagged him replied to, that person quoted, I tried to find the first tweet. It took me like 5 minutes. I still didn't find it. I gave up. I was like, I don't care anymore. Like I'm over it. So Ravi, we're not gonna tweet and we're not gonna tag five people, but we're gonna do it on the podcast. So
I'm like, who am I gonna tag? I was gonna tag Mike anyways.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, who am I gonna tag that hasn't been tagged already? You pretty much like, everyone was tagged for the most part that I know of, like, or has been tagged in this thing. The only people I know are non-wrestling fans. It's like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna tag non-wrestling fan, and be like, here, who's your top favorite wrestlers that mean a lot to you? It's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but all right, so it's no order. Like, it's not in any order, but we can just
All
like talk
right.
about it. So, do you want to
All
go
right.
first?
All right. We'll go
You-
back and forth.
We'll go back and forth. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. Obviously, Undertaker is top tier on the list. I've been following Undertaker since I was 4. And then watching wrestling since my parents watch wrestling. My brothers watch wrestling. So like I grew up watching wrestling, but they
Mhm.
obviously stopped. I didn't. You know how it works. You know the gimmick. And
Undertaker
I
was
remember
always
Undertaker. I remember Kane was my favorite. I was scared of
Kane.
Undertaker. Yeah. I was scared of Undertaker, and I liked Kane because Kane beat up Undertaker, but then Undertaker ended up being my favorite. So I feel like if it wasn't for Undertaker, we wouldn't know any. I wouldn't know any of this.
Huh.
That's why he's number one. He's the OG, and he's super nice. Still around, which he probably shouldn't be, but whatever.
Well,
And yeah,
the thing with Undertaker is every year, like in school, um, like as you grow older, or as I grew up, more and more people would like, I mean, like they would stop watching it. Obviously, I think that's like for anybody, but I always got questions from people like around WrestleMania time, like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, I get
like
the same thing. Did
Did the
the
Undertaker
Undertaker
win at
win?
Mania?
I got the
It's
same
crazy.
exact thing. People would be like on the DL, like they don't want anyone to know that they're asking you this question.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let me ask you one thing real quick. Like, the Undertaker win? I'm like, last night, I'm like, yeah. Don't
Until
you have the internet?
until the day that it actually happened in 2014 WrestleMania 30, and people were coming up to me like, Undertaker lost, can you believe it? Like, it was nuts. Like, and I was like, I didn't even know that, one, you knew who I was, and two, knew what wrestling was. Like, and you're
And
asking me
three,
like,
how do you know that I like wrestling?
yeah. So it's like, it's crazy, it's just a thing. And like, it got to the point in high school, like junior year and senior year of high school, where I just kind of like I there was like I ran out of people who would come up to me and say, "Hey, you know it's fake." So it just got to the point where like they were like, "Oh yeah, that's the wrestling guy." Like if something wrestling happened, it's like, "Oh, did you hear about this wrestling thing?" And it's just like, a fun little thing.
Yeah,
But
same. That was me. That was me too.
so equivalent to your Undertaker, I got Shawn Michaels because that was like I want he was like the first guy that I just like really really liked. Um, I think I sent you a picture of it today, but when I was in fifth grade, we had this like it was like a wax museum thing where you had to research a person, like an important person, and you had to like dress up like them and do like a project on them. And then we all were in the classroom, and then people came in and they like pressed a button, like a fake button, and then you had to like read like the biography of them that you wrote for the person. So this picture that we took, um, like the whole class was like presidents and whatnot. You have like Abraham Lincoln, you have George Washington, and here I am. I'm Shawn Michaels. I got the belt, I got the T-shirt, I got the cowboy hat,
With
and
that
it's just like the
cowboy hat,
funniest
dude. I
thing.
pop for that cowboy hat.
It's the funniest thing. And that's like Shawn Michaels. Like what a guy. Like Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. I met him for free for the first time. That was awesome. But yeah, Shawn Michaels, what a guy.
All right, so number two, definitely Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson. For the reasons, if it wasn't for Bryan Danielson coming to WWE, I would have never learned about Ring of Honor, PWG, all the independents. So
True.
then when he got fired, I started following. Like I watched that PWG 7 show that he returned to. That was like my first ever indie show I think I bought
Hmm.
on DVD, and then I liked that, and then
I
I
think I
started.
have that.
And it wasn't for that, I went and watched Ring of Honor, and then the whole spiral of independent wrestling started.
Yeah,
So it has to be Daniel Bryan. And then I was there for WrestleMania 30.
that's true. That's a big. I watched that on TV the other day. That's a big one. That's a good one. Let's see. My number two has got to be CM Punk. Like
Punky.
when I remember it was okay. So WrestleMania 23. That was the first show where I was like, I really want to buy this show, and like my parents wouldn't allow me because it was like $50 or whatever. And so after the DVD came out,
See?
I watched
See,
that
that's why.
DVD.
Hold on. That's why wrestling parents, they understood pay-per-views, so I was able
Yeah,
to order pay-per-views.
that's true. But we watched this DVD so many times. Like, I mean, I can literally like run down the card and like tell you what happens and tell you who wins. And like, when CM Punk came out at the opening match for the Money in the Bank ladder match, um, when they said from Chicago, Illinois, I was like, oh my God, this guy's from Chicago. Like, and then at that point, I was like, I need to follow this guy's like career. And that's kind of like where it started. And then obviously with the straight edge thing, you had the Straight Edge Society. You had him in the Nexus for a little bit. Obviously, Money in the Bank 2011, which has been like drawn on that I've mentioned like so many times now.
Yeah.
And then like 2013, he came back at Payback against Jericho, and like I was up in like the 200 like on the roof like with my CM Punk flag that I like illegally custom made, and like just like almost tearing up because I was like, oh, this is such a cool moment, whatever. And then obviously like he leaves, and since then I met him twice. So yeah, CM Punk.
Third is my boy Dwayne The Rock. The only reason, lots of reasons. Wrestling growing up, he was great. It's funny. Comedic timing is amazing. Fun watching like the wrestling, the promos. Like when he came back in 2011, that was insane. When he faced Cena, that was like the biggest match of probably the decade. for wrestling. One of the. Even to this day, I have the Rock shoes, like the Under Armour shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to explain. Like when I do improv and we do this game where like one person has to be like an emotion, one person has to be like an animal, one has to be a celebrity, and like we play this improv guessing game where the person
Yeah.
does. So we act it out, and then like the crowd has to guess what's going on, or like the person that's not in the room comes back in as like the host. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's called party quirks or something. Anyways, yeah. So I always yell at Dwayne. Everyone knows my go-to is like, oh, The Rock.
If you
Yeah.
smell, have you ever done like the eyebrow? Got on the chair, done the
Oh, I've done
eyebrow.
the eyebrow. I've done him acting. Um, I've done like I don't know. I've just acted like The Rock. I don't know. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I don't even do like wrestling stuff. I do more like movie stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like I liked The Rock, but then when he came back and beat Punk for the title in 2013, I was just so bitter against The Rock. And then like the next year when he faced Cena, I was like, I don't care. Or no, but that was the same year he faced Cena at WrestleMania. But then like recently, I really like The Rock, and like, I mean, it's The Rock. How do you hate The Rock? You know what I mean?
That boy Dwayne. Anyways, yeah. So every time I was like, oh yeah, my boy Dwayne, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm The Rock. Rock, dude, The Rock. Like, why do you say my boy Dwayne? I'm like, I don't know, it's funny.
The Rock says. Let's
Um,
see.
so yeah, The Rock.
Just la 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 la. We need Luke in here to do the Rock's mom.
I don't know.
So my number three is like a current wrestler and like a newer wrestler, Kevin Owens slash Kevin Steen, because like he was like when I first went to my first Ring of Honor show in 2012, he was there. I knew who he was, and we were like I was standing around, and he like walked past me, and some kid was like, "Hey, Steen, will you sign this?" And he walked over to a table and he was like, "Follow me." He got up on top of the table and he shouted, "I'm doing this for free!" at like the meet and greet. And so like I ran over and like I got him to sign a piece of paper, and then after that I got him to like do a little like intro for my channel, like Ravi and like Legendary Assault, like when that like they
Yeah.
did back in the day. So I got him to do that, and that was fun. And then like later on when he did his weekend escapades, I like made the logo for him, and like he used it. And then like the one AAW show I went to, he like filmed me like for it, and then he gave me like a free Mount Rushmore shirt. Which, by the way, that Mount Rushmore shirt, to think about it now, it's got Kevin Steen, Adam Cole, and the Young Bucks. That's just pretty crazy to think about. But
Hey,
um,
it's like, hey,
yeah, it literally
let's.
is. And then at WrestleMania 31 Access, I waited like over an hour. I'm pretty sure I waited like an hour and a half to 2 hours, while everybody else was waiting for me so we can go eat something before WrestleMania. I was in line to meet Kevin Owens. And like I walk up and immediately he's like, "Oh hey buddy, it's good to see you again. Like how's it been?" And I told him like I bought his shirt like as soon as it came out as like a repayment for the shirt that he gave me for free like years ago or whatever. Just a good guy, and honestly, he's the reason why I still watch wrestling today or watch WWE today, is to see what Kevin Owens is up to. So
I was
number three,
there. I
Kevin
was
Owens.
there when he won the title, the ROH title.
Yeah,
I
that
was at
was
that show. What a
who
great
was that
show.
against? Michael Elgin?
No, Davey Richards.
Oh, Davey Richards. Davey
Throwback
Richards, yeah,
Thursday.
dude.
I was
I got a
there when he
picture
had
of
that
Richards.
almost 5-star match with Michael Elgin.
That's what I was thinking about. Border Wars, I think.
Yeah, what a good guy. Then the funny thing is, I never met him in Toronto. I met him in New Orleans.
Really,
Yeah,
I remember that picture. It was like in
what a great time. Throw it up. That's a
yeah.
rare one now.
Oh, dude, me too. Yeah, I got him. I asked him at WrestleMania 31 Access. I was like, "Hey, can we two sweeten the picture?" And he's like, "Yeah, like you want Tyler?" And Tyler Breeze was sitting next to him. I was like, "Yeah, you want Tyler in there too?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" So we got this picture of like us two sweeting, and then after that, it just went down. Like no one
Next
did it
year it's like,
anymore.
nope, we're not allowed. It's AJ's.
Yeah. Okay,
So
who's
then
your
number
number
three
four?
of my four.
I
Oh,
think
I
number
did
four.
Dwayne. Okay. Um, this is an obvious one. It's Okada, dude.
Mm.
Freaking Okada. So 2012, one of my friends comes up to me like, "Hey, He was telling me because A-Train came back. Remember when A-Train came back to
A
WWE?
Train.
Remember?
Yeah.
Remember that? Anyways, I was like, what happened to this guy? Why did he come back? Like, what was he? Why does he have this Japanese gimmick? He's like, oh, he's in New Japan for years with Carl Anderson. They were a tag team. I'm like,
Mm,
what? What's New Japan, dude? And he's like, all right, let me educate you.
yeah.
So he starts showing me like Shinsuke and Tanahashi, and then I'm like, who's this money guy? Like, I like him. He like does
This
like a
money
pose
guy.
and like money falls. This is 2012. Okada just came back from TNA to like New Japan, I think,
Mm,
and they were giving him the push, and I'm like, I like this. I like this guy. He's like a he was a heel. But, you know, I like bad guys, and he's kind of like Orton and Cena, like Tanahashi Okada. I'm like,
mm-hmm.
I'll go for Okada, and then like the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone knows I'm the OG New Japan fan. Every time someone sees Japanese, every time someone says Shinsuke, they they think of me, and I'm like, no, you see Okada, you think of me.
Yeah.
So
What a
yeah, there
time.
you go. Kazuchika Okada since 2012. He's my first ever wrestler. I was like, I like this guy. I want to pick him.
Seeing Okada at All In was awesome. That was the first time I saw him wrestle, and his entrance was just incredible. So now, through you, I've become an Okada fan.
I've met Okada in 2014, 2015 with Shinsuke, the famous picture that never happened again.
Yeah.
2016. Oh, and every time I've met him, he right before he comes to Toronto, he's dropped the title. So I've never met him holding the title.
Mm,
And then even when in Chicago, he dropped the title to Kenny like 2 months before,
yeah.
or a month and a half before. Yeah, there you go. I met him four times, and technically I met him 2 times in 1 week because I met him in Philly when I did the World War tour when I went to
Oh
Philly.
yeah.
I met him, and then we met him in Toronto.
There you go. Okada, the Rainmaker.
There you go. I met him like 5, 6 times already.
Let's see. So I think it's number four. So for number four for me, I'm gonna have to go with Cole Cabana because honestly, like he's another one of the reasons why I'm like still like into wrestling. Is just like following Cole Cabana like from podcast to, him doing like indie shows around here to like I knew that Cole Cabana was going to be at an indie show. It was AAW, and that's why I went to that show so I could meet Cole Cabana. And then like from there, like I just started following AAW and like the independents a lot more. And his interviews, like the old podcasts that he used to do, I would listen to those religiously at school. Those would get me through the day all the time. And so, I mean, he
His old
literally
podcast. Are you talking about his OG podcast,
like his OG
like the
one,
hour,
yeah.
not the one where he did like the documentary style podcast?
No, 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 like the original, like Colt Cabana Art of Wrestling podcast.
He's probably like the
Because
first podcast I listened to. Like when I
he's
found
like,
out about him, I listened like it was like episode 70 or something, and I like listened to like at least 30 of them in like a month.
yeah, he's like the godfather of wrestling podcasting. Because without him, like like it wouldn't have like gone on like as it did. Because then all of a sudden, years later, like Steve Austin has a podcast and Jericho has a podcast and this wrestler, and it's just like it literally spawned it. And like, what's crazy is Colt did his podcast, and Kevin Steen saw like what he was doing with the podcast, and Kevin Steen did his like weekend escapades, and then the Young Bucks saw what Kevin Steen was doing and saw what Colt was doing, and they, and like Colt, like they always say like Colt Cabana was the one that told them like, oh, you got to get merch and you got to like do the gimmick table or whatever, and like that's why it's so crazy, or that's why I'm glad that Colt is with AEW now, because without Colt Cabana, you don't have AEW
The
as
trickle
AEW.
effect.
Yeah, it's like
There's no pro wrestling tees.
no, there's no pro wrestling tees. Yeah, he was the one that brought the idea to 1 hour tees, and he was like, hey, like, all these wrestlers they have, they want money because they don't necessarily get to go to shows all the time and across the country and whatnot. And I mean, Cole Cabana, like, I mean, they're gonna, I don't even know what, he needs like some kind of an achievement award for like what he's done. It's
Yeah.
crazy what he's done when you think about it. But yeah, Cole
The
Cabana
the
number four.
OG. Remember the Wrestling Road Diaries?
Oh yeah, with Brian Danielson.
That's like probably one of the best wrestling documentaries ever. Like that, it's so weird because you know where Brian Danielson goes like 4 years later after he leaves, or 5 years after
Yeah,
he leaves.
that is true.
Oh, like
See, that's
yeah,
that too. That too. It's just like Cole Cabana is just. I mean, he's done so much for wrestling.
yeah.
So, all right,
So
who's
my number
last on your
five, I
list?
feel like this is a double, but I'm gonna call it. I was thinking about this when we were doing the list. I'm like, all right, these three are easy. I'm gonna go with Dwayne because I still rep The Rock, but I'm gonna go with the Young Bucks as number
Ooh,
five, a current one. Right, right. Because like, okay, I was like kind of a whatever Young Bucks fan. Like I like them, but you know, you're like they're there. They have good matches. They're part of the Bullet Club. They have their own weird gimmicks. You know, we sell
mhm.
merch. That was like their gimmick. I feel like for a while in New Japan, like they would come out and flip around, like, oh, go to a pro wrestling tee store, and then like they're like, even when I'm at the Bullet Club, like you could see them, but I'm more happy about meeting AJ and Gallo and Anderson. Like the Bucks are like on the side, and then like when I met Omega and stuff, like the Omega's there and like the Young Bucks are there, which is nice. And then I realized like I met them what 5 times, and they're like super nice guys. Their matches are amazing. They're like the reason AEW is here. I started watching Being the Elite because of them, and Omega was on there, which led to all this. I don't know.
Well, it's funny that you say Young Bucks at number
Oh,
five because
is he
my
gonna say
number
this?
five is the Young Bucks.
Damn,
I,
dude.
I
Is it
mean,
like this? It's like the same thing.
it's
I feel like I wasn't on the bandwagon, and then I jumped on the bandwagon.
so I was a fan. I mean, I don't mean to like put this like put anyone else to shame, but like I was a fan of the Young Bucks a long time ago, and I first saw them at the 2012 Ring of Honor show that I went to, the first one I ever went to, and at that show they were just guys. Like they were just guys. I didn't even know what the Young Buck was. Like I didn't know what Young Bucks was. And then it wasn't until like later that year I was like, oh, the Young Bucks. I saw them at that one show. And then like people started to talk about them in PWG. And then I believe it was 2014. It might have been 2013. It was the show that it was like Chris Hero's like one of Chris Hero's first shows back after getting released from WWE. So that was either 14 or 13. Um, like I was just so involved in the Young Bucks as a tag team, and like I brought a sign that says like had like the Young Bucks are over, and like I was sitting front row, and oh no, maybe that was something else. I didn't bring it for that one, but I was sitting front row, and it was Young Bucks versus Red Dragon. Red Dragon were the champions. It was for the titles, and the Young Bucks like won the titles. And what's crazy about that is earlier in the night, I got a picture with them. That was the first time like I met them, and they had the IWGP Junior Tag titles. They just won the IWGP Junior Tag titles like a month or so like before, and so like my friend Kyle K-Con Hawks, he was like, oh, like can I pick up the title? And he was like, oh yeah, like no problem. And he's like, he was holding it up, and Kyle was like, hey, why don't you like like you see this? And I was like, eh. And he's like, that's the IWGP Junior. And like now fast forward, and it's like it's a big deal. It's like, oh my god, like that's like this historic title or whatever. But like seeing them win the ROH tag titles for the first time, like being front row and like in an awesome match, and they came around and too sweet to me afterward and everything. Like they're just like awesome. And then like when they went to or like when they became like they blew up with the Bullet Club, I was just like I'm on this ride, and I'm like riding this wave with them. And like and then it was like at that point people were like, oh, the Young Bucks, like taking note of the Young Bucks. And it was just one of those things where because they were grouped in with like Cole Cabana, Kevin Steen, Adam Cole.
Yeah,
I
too.
was like,
I remember PWG is when I found. No, I watched them in TNA, and then PWG I really like. Oh, these guys are really good.
hmm
But I never was on that bandwagon. Like, oh, I like them, they're good. But I'm like,
yeah, they're there and like they're awesome, but
but I'm like, I'm not riding or dying with them.
yeah. And now to see them like running a company, it's just like the coolest thing. And then like even going to what's it called? When I met them at the convention this year, Revolution Weekend, like you
Yeah,
can tell that they wanted nothing to do, like they didn't want to be there at all. They were so tired, you can see it in their faces, but they
yeah, and then they
took
were
the
so
time.
nice.
They talked to everyone, like they like listened to my story, and like they were like they're just like so nice. And I mean, it
Bro,
was
remember they
just
told me They told me when Double or Nothing was, and they told me,
Yeah,
well, I don't know about it now, but they're like, yeah, we'll be in Toronto in July, but I don't know if that's happening anymore. But
yeah.
that was the plan.
But that's the thing. Like even like leading up to All In, they would always like if you wanted to know, they would tell you, and it like they would keep secrets. But I mean like I remember finding out where the show was gonna be for All In because Matt Jackson did like a test Twitch stream, and it was him and his wife was in the background packing up merch, and um, like someone asked like, oh, like you know, do you have an arena yet? And he was like, oh, you know, we're still looking, but there might be an arena in the Midwest that has like, you know, that has like big interests in us or whatever, and um, like at that point I was like, okay, well, where else in the Midwest would the show take place? It's got to be Chicago. And at that point, I was like, all right, it's Chicago. But it's like even just like with All In and everything, like they've just become like you know they're in that grouping. So
Well, for them, we wouldn't be gone to that show how many times? Three
oh, I
times, you
know.
guys?
Yeah,
So yeah, there you go. The podcast today.
that was the podcast. But Justin, what's a message to your future self?
Um, buy t-shirts that you really want. No more impulse buying
That's a good that's a good thing. Yeah,
because
my t-shirts like I got so many. I need to get rid of some almost.
literally,
A message to my future self. Um, if I don't have a frame for the Revolution poster and for the Chiefs poster, then find something to do with them because you're gonna have to take them off your bed before you go to sleep.
what?
I got the Revolution poster and the Chiefs poster that I got from the Super Bowl. It's just sitting on my bed right now, and I need to find a frame. And I
Why
needed to
don't you just
find a frame for months, or for a month, I guess,
why don't you just do it tomorrow?
because that's a good question. I might just go tomorrow. They were sitting in the
Man,
room. Yeah, they were sitting in your room for the longest time. So
so why don't you just put it back in there?
because there's stuff in there now, I need a frame for them. Anyway, this is unimportant. Good
This whole
podcast. That was a lot of
podcast is
fun.
kind of unimportant, but it's fine.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I think this is a lot better than just tweeting it and saying, "Hey, these are
We're
my top five."
talking shop,
We're
talking
talking
shop.
about it. Yeah, we could doing stories and whatnot. So on that note, uh, yeah, fun times. Let us know who your top five is, or you know
If
your
and
five
if you're
stars.
watching us, thank you for surviving however long this is.
Yeah, 37 minutes, 38 minutes.
Peace, love, and till tomorrow.
Peace on the streets, son.
You're